That's kind of cool. Look how dim it is. Hello, it's Yunny, and welcome to the third week of Yunny Demos. This is a space where I share what I've been making in the week as I build my studio, YUNNY Studios, and describe maybe some challenges or questions I ask as I go on this adventure. So, I want to start off with a few themes. This week has been a lot about strengthening systems that are pre-existing. That means working out consistently, eating nutrition, making sure that there's a balance of rest and play and work, and a lot of relationships, meeting up with people, getting feedback, hearing about how they are experiencing all the things I've been testing with. So it's been a nice recharge week to go slow so I can go swiftly in a more balanced manner as I proceed. Let's see. There's been nature. I went out a lot more. I talked with a lot more friends and reconnected with some parts of me that were holding on to some assumptions that were not good for me. Learning how to process feelings like rage and create a more positive way of expressing that energy, while also honoring it and seeing it for what it is. So I think that's it. Let's get into the demo. So we talked about the themes that happened this week. A lot of things to process. Very good stuff. I'm still alive. We're still well. We're still doing this. So let's keep going. Here's the agenda for today. These are things I want to cover with you. I did something along craft. I've been obsessed and rethinking my thoughts, rethinking my principles around that. Next is tension, moving through the chromatic scale, sweet thorns, how high worksheets, storyboards, greens, books, and then we're off. Okay, we're gonna go from the back. Okay, so I've been really thinking about craft. I don't know if you watch Haikyuu. It's an anime. I watched the movie, I watched the seasons, I binged it, and it is essentially a sports anime on volleyball, kind of walking you through what kids who are obsessed, high school kids who are obsessed with craft and winning, and how does that impact the way that they practice and work. So watching that, I got a lot of inspiration and made this little book interaction. So it is called No Half-Ass. Locked in, no half-ass, everything you possibly can. Who can do that today? The chance to see your talent bloom. Talent is, what does that say? Talent is something you bloom. Instinct is something you polish. Oh, talent is something you bloom. Instinct is something you polish. Give it to me. Come at me with your most popular weapon. So it's pretty long. I don't know if I can get through all of it, but I recognized that I was competitive and that I love competing. I love sports, or being in sports, more of the you versus you interaction, although team sports are fun too. But the bitterness and regret of not knowing and not giving your best, that's something that haunts me as I try to hone my craft. In the end, real recognize real. Dare to be real in how you feel. It's okay for others to see the real ones. I mean, the ones you should spend time with won't make fun of you. Believe it. So this is a kind of a love letter to myself and pushing me to double down on my craft and spending the time needed, even if it's a lot longer, to get it right and to take a vision and communicate it as much as I can through my technical abilities. So if I have an idea for how to make something, previously I probably would try to rush it and try to get it out there and share it for maybe some social validation. We all need validation, right? But now I'm seeing the benefits of holding my ground, really learning the thing, even if it means learning a new skill, so I can execute my vision a lot more accurately. So that opportunity comes with time, and it's truly a luxury. So I want to take advantage of that privilege that we've built to get to. What else? I was really grateful. Trying to hone in some thoughts about being proud of yourself and giving yourself the validation that you need. I love the idea of working so hard at something that you truly didn't believe you can do before. It makes you sit and stand taller. And one of my favorite feelings is the feeling of being fully concentrated. Who is more, what does it say? Who is more blank on the right things? Who is more focused on the right things? Who is more eager? Flow is my drug of choice, 120%. You will adapt, don't assume you will lose, and you will hesitate. Don't be steadfast and sure and self-dependent. Go as wild, it got cut off, as you can. So this was just something that usually when I'm watching something, I love doing something with my hands and recording my reactions. So that is one of those things. Okay, next we're gonna move to tension, moving through the chromatic scale. So I was playing with the typewriter. I wanted to use the typewriter and communicate this feeling that came on early in the week, a feeling like I'm in this weird dissonance period, this limbo period where there's a gap between where I am and where I want to be. So I was like, well, okay, what can I do to really express that feeling and kind of release it from my body? So I have a stack of old sheet notes, sheet music, and this is something from my brother. He used to play trumpet, but I found this, I pulled this, and I was like, oh, this hits the metaphor I'm trying to hit. So the distance between two notes is the chromatic scale. And I love the idea of chromatic being something with more light, something with more energy. And I fed this through the typewriter, and this is what came out. So the space between where I am and where I see myself. I'm hungry. Does anyone recognize, understand this intense feeling? It's agony, suffering in the valley between. I want people to hear my music. Is that greed? A diary, a therapy, see my beauty through my flaws. Love, Yunny. I also made a video on this to kind of test, like, what does it look like to share videos that bring you into the process of me making something. So that was a good test. This next one is fun. So Sweet Thorns. That day I was feeling a bit of rage come out, and I think it got more pronounced as I was hyper focusing on this dissonance, and it was bad. Like I know that I'm in a state that I'm in a rough state when everything starts to look annoying. So at that point, I gotta give myself a timeout. So I went to the park and walked amongst the trees and really tried to find new ways to reset. And when I was there, I found the rose garden. I found trees that had eyes on it, and I was listening to Kendrick's Damn album, and it really put me in a better state. So when I came back, I still felt like I wanted to make something. So I played with this new process. It's really cool because it incorporates many aspects, many mediums that I really love. So there's watercolor. Start off with that. I already had the poem or writings in my iOS notes. I was kind of letting it all out as I was walking. And then, so I had that as inspiration as well. So what I did was I started with the watercolor. I brought in the line art with my favorite Muji pen, almost out. I brought in my favorite felt pen, and I was thinking about the mountains, I was thinking about the roses, this idea of becoming a different person and growing some wings, really, kind of reaching a sense of freedom from rage to that transformation. So this expresses that, where there's this rose that's coming up and the background is kind of bland, right? But this rose is feeling and experiencing this passion within. And as you can see, there's a lot of random things going on, but the rose has been going through some tough times and crying, but then finds a way to go through, transmute that energy into a sort of freedom, a sense of wings, to be amongst the stars. Here is a bird in the distance, kind of a, it's a hint of what will come. It's the vision of what the transformation, what will happen after the transformation. So I did all that, and then afterwards I wanted to use the typewriter. So I took my OS notes and I tried to pick the lines that came from the right place. And when I say the right place, I mean came from a place of love, a place that is egoless, a place where the best energy comes from. And that's the type of thing I want to amplify through my work. So basically anything that was based in fear and anger was removed. So what you see here is the remnants of those writings. So it says, "There's something about using all of you. Have you found the limits of your ability, of mind, body, and spirit? Hold your head high. You are royal. You were born a queen. Love, Yunny." Super fun. Okay, next we're going to move on to how high worksheets. So as you can tell, a lot of emotional processing is happening, so I needed some time to chill out. So as I was chilling out, my roommate and I had this idea of creating these funny worksheets where I used to be a teacher and I revere teachers, but I was pulling from the energy of, when you're doing a science experiment and then the teacher hand wrote the worksheet and made copies of it. That happened in grade school for me before computers were a mainstay. But my roommate, she's really, she's skilled in interviewing and collecting data. She's a clinical researcher. So we have a 3-part worksheet where it's like intake, follow-up, and exit. So I don't know if you've had this question before. When you're enjoying festivities, you kind of forget how things affect your body, or or comparing it to other times that you've enjoyed festivities. So imagine a scientific way of collecting that data and being able to see the trends and how certain festivities affect your body, and then you can find your perfect fits. So it goes, what time did you wake up today? How much energy did you expend? Rate that. What time did you eat today? Did you have caffeine? Did you drink enough water? When did you take it? What brand? How much? What dosage? What's the breakdown? And any additional comments. So the follow-up, these are the real questions here. So after 2 hours, how do you feel? I gave 2 lines, but maybe you need more. But after 4 hours, how do you feel? List any symptoms. How much water did you drink? Did you what did I say? Did you anything? If so, why? Did you eat anything? My bad. Did you eat anything? If so, why? Do you remember any conversations? If yes, explain. I feel like the funniest conversations come through. Any additional comments, of course. The last one is the outcomes. Like, does that festivity work with you and your body? Does that dosage work with you? So how high exit interview, basically. What time did you sleep? Any side effects? Would you do this again? Explain. Any advice for future you? Any additional comments? Great job, you're done. So I think this would be hilarious if this became worksheets, but I've made a couple of different types of things like this. So I wonder if it would be fun to make them PDFs. Let me know in the comments, I guess. Cool. We're almost done. We're at storyboards now. I picked a meditation, I've been meditating for the better part of the last 10 years, 12 years, but of course it's like a discipline, so if you don't do it, then you kind of lose that skill or that awareness, but I came back to it this week as very strongly and making it a point of my routine. So I thought about, after I was meditating, I had the image of what would it be like if I could express what it feels like to engage with your thoughts or disengage with your thoughts. So here, imagine a girl, and then there's air balloons floating by. The air balloons are symbols for thoughts. They're just floating by, they come in, and then maybe one of them entices you, so you grab the rope, and then you're floating with that thought for a while, to the point where you're like, I don't really want to be thinking about this anymore. So you let go, girl's floating down and goes back on the grass. So when you're meditating, this process kind of happens a lot. And even though I've been meditating for a good while, this still happens, but you recognize when you're holding on to the balloons. I think I want to get to the state where I can see, like from the get-go, I can see the balloons and I don't touch them. I just lay on the grass and I look at them. So how cool would it be to animate that? So I wanted to record that. Okay, are you tired yet? We are almost done. This is something I made yesterday. My hair is everywhere, pardon. But this last one, it's also a storyboard. It's called, what is it called? It's called What Was Taught. And I am thinking a lot more about my work in broader collections and questioning, what does it mean to bring a collection together what would you bring it in about? What is it? I hear that you do it by themes, maybe you do it by technique. I think it's interesting to bring it together in stories, and I'm navigating that question of how much do I disclose, how much do I put literally, and how abstract do I keep it. Sometimes you want things to be uber abstract so that it leaves more room for people to interpret. And that's a generous way of looking at it, where you give people the space to engage and interpret. But sometimes you also want to express your story very, very literally, or very clearly and precisely. So I'm navigating the balance between those as I mock up some ideas for collections. Okay, so what I did was I basically took a bunch of notes of what I was thinking, and right here, these gray ones are in chronological order, so they kind of go through. I have a few different ones. Some of these are just notes to myself of things to reframe my brain as I move into this next chapter. So this is a separate one. An example is, allowing your mind to run free without punishment is a luxury. What's another one? Make peace with the current situation, release resistance to improvements that are waiting for you. And I feel that because I can tell when I'm getting in my own way after a while, of course, but trying to make that quick. So this is scratch paper basically, but these two are more interesting, that can be curated into some sort of story. So because there's a lot of it's around this theme of what was taught. I see it's basically a series of thoughts around it, and then I challenged myself to sketch what I imagined a picture would be that expresses that feeling, that allows me to be a lot more abstract with how I tell stories. So maybe some things need to be more abstract and maybe some things don't, but it's funny because the pictures in my brain are strongly influenced by the physical world, but also the digital world. I'm a product designer, and I love things like data visualization and graphing. So some of these things that came through were graphs, and maybe that's something I want to express. I love this one. It's a little jug that says daily fuel, and it says, in quotations, "I love you, I'm proud of you, you're necessary for this world." Yeah, so there's a lot of things. There's even notes of how I could tell that story a lot better. So, for example, writing images or themes, sketching for composition. What is these? What am I saying? What if these images matched the imagery in my brain? I think that's what I'm trying to say. I make this because it makes me feel understood. It's a trip towards care. Another interesting lever that you can do in a collection is choosing the medium. So there's techniques of how you express it, like it's all digital, or it's like with etching, or it's with linograph or linocut. But I like to do mixed medium, so we'll see where I land there. But yeah, that's that. This has been a long one. Bear with me. Okay, last two, and then we can be done. So, I've been, have you seen this before? playing with or leaning into my inner child has led me back to nature in a lot of ways. And this microgreen kit has been fun. There's even a little checklist that you can go through. And I'm going to show you what it looks like after 10 days. As you can see, it's kind of crazy. And I want to chop it off and put on a burger. I don't know how to regrow it. My friend Mina sent me some this YouTuber who specializes in microgreens and grows them and for a living. He's basically a microgreen broker. But we got this. And another thing that I found interesting is I love carnivorous plants. So your girl got this spiny fool. Don't want to disturb him too much, but I got a Venus flytrap traps from Trader Joe's. I put it in here so that it can have more of a greenhouse experience, and it lives in the bathroom, but let's see how it goes. I've always wanted one of these. Okay, is that it? Last things. I read this book, finished this book. I've been reading it for like half a year now, and it's one of those books that you gotta read it, stop, simmer, and it creates new meanings. But it has been like a operating system update for my mind. A lot of assumptions, a lot of ways I was handling certain emotional situations weren't productive or healthy. And of course, you can choose what you take from it. And I got to pick and choose and see what it looks like on the other side of what it looks like to move towards enlightenment, and then I can retrofit those lessons to my life. Last is this book by Ai Weiwei. I'm just getting into his work, and it's been blowing my mind. Like, I can't believe how well researched and vivid this book is. But basically, Ai Weiwei is this Chinese artist whose dad was the poet, a close associate of Mao Zedong. And that's crazy because he grew up living in Little Siberia because he was banished when Mao Zedong came into power, or his dad was banished. And it goes through his dad's life. And what I'm trying to understand is, like, how the heck did he go from that place and become an artist that's internationally renowned, has been friends with Allen Ginsberg, Warhol, Duchamp, or at least he was inspired by Warhol and Duchamp. But yeah, I'm really interested in how he moved from that place to a place of freedom and expression. So that I'll learn a lot there. All right, that's it for the demo. Thanks for being here. Thank you for being here for the third demo of Yunny Demos. I hope you enjoy seeing the process. Feel free to leave any questions that you have from anything I expressed or other questions. I hope to be a lot more open, and this has really helped me organize my life and figure out what are the next steps and get clear on my dreams and goals and how that leads to everyday action. So I think that's it. Enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend, and I'm gonna go cook now. Gonna make some rockfish with some curry seasonings and stuff. So gotta go. Bye. Thanks.